Hello Skillr Boxers. Today we are breaking down all the different types of guards in boxing, going through the mechanics and details of every single one of them. We will also go over the best scenarios to use each one, the pros and the cons. This way you will know exactly when and how to use every guard.
We're here in round 5.
In boxing, your guard often determines your way of fighting. Each guard serves a different purpose. Some are more defensive, some more offensive. Some are great to keep the distance, and some are great to close it. Knowing how to master each guard will allow you a more versatile style and help you make the most out of each guard. Now, these are guards we will cover and their abbreviations to make it more efficient. Cross guard, XG. High guard, HG. L guard, LG. Low guard, LWG. Long guard, LGG. Now, let's get into the details and mechanics of each one.
But before we move on to the next topic, we wanted to share a message from our sponsor, Boxing, the premier training app designed to help fighters train smarter and improve faster. Visit the dedicated Skillr section to learn and practice essential boxing techniques right from these videos. We've recently added 2 powerful training modules, signature combos and proven combos. Skillr Boxers, you can increase the probability of scoring a knockout by mastering these 14 high percentage combinations. For the best results, follow this 3-tiered approach. 1. Practice missing the shot. Add these combos into your shadow boxing. 2. Increase power production. Drill them on a heavy bag. 3. Try different setups. Learn to land these punches on a moving target during sparring. With enough time and practice, a few of these can become your own signature combinations.
Cross guard. The cross guard was more commonly used by old school boxers like Archie Moore, Joe Frazier, Ken Norton, George Foreman later in his career, and Evander Holyfield. However, we have seen adaptations from modern boxers. The cross guard is a guard where one or both arms are across the face. Like all guards, each has different variations. In some cases, one hand is across the face, with the forearm horizontal, while the other lies low, protecting the body. In other cases, both arms are up across the face with the forearms close together. In those cases, the posture is slightly crouched and front foot heavy. This way, the head, which is covered, is a closer target than the body, which is open.
Combination from Bo.
This guard is usually used from a squared stance. Now, let's cover the mechanics on how to defend each shot. Mechanics. Straight punches like the 1 and 2 are the easiest to defend. They can be blocked or parried by simply raising the arm or closing up both arms. Hooks, 3 and 4, are usually blocked or parried by raising the elbow. This works at a certain distance, but when aiming to the side of the head, hooks will usually go around the elbows and shoulders, connecting clean. Even with a raise of the elbow, the sides cannot be covered. This is why it is sometimes mixed by changing the arm position to block the sides of the head, similar to a high guard. In other instances, hooks are defended by bending at the waist, using the cross guard just to block straight shots. Uppercuts, 5 and 6, similar to before, can be parried by slightly pulling back and using the guard to deflect the punch. However, These are the most risky shots to defend from the cross guard.
Cooper, moment of disorganization. He appears to be hurt. Fired after those flurry of punches, but now he's hurt.
Similar to hooks, uppercuts can easily go past the guard and connect clean on the chin. Shots to the body will be blocked either by crouching forward with both arms, or in some cases, one arm will already be covering while the other is up.
Tito's aggression right now, on aggression.
Now, when it comes to the mechanics of how to attack from the cross guard, most of the time it will be in the form of counters.
You gotta look at it. Our forearms are shields. You know, like in gladiator times, right? Where they had the shield. Yeah. And they had the spear. So that makes sense. Yeah, you could do that.
As both arms are crossed, it will be more difficult to punch off the cross guard, as you have to reposition your arms. However, the lead hook and the cross can be used effectively as counters. As a simple catch and shoot motion, the lead hook can be thrown right after blocking/parrying a shot.
Like I'm kingpin of counterpunching, like catching and jab, bro. I mean, when I fought Josh Steele, I did the Foreman. He threw a jab, and he was southpaw, so he went this way. He threw a jab, I went here, and threw a hook.
Have gone on.
On the other hand, the cross can also be used to counter. In this case, maintaining the cross guard and slightly turning to the side to load up and position your arm to counter with a cross. Now let's go over the pros and cons of this guard. Pros and cons. The good thing about the cross guard is that it allows you to easily block straight shots to the head without the need for any guesswork. On the other hand, it has shown to be inefficient against well-placed uppercuts and hooks, often not allowing them to be fully blocked. The major issue with the cross guard is the openings it leaves, especially on the body.
Before this fight, takes a tremendous shot.
With both arms raised at head level, your whole body is exposed. Even when crouching to cover, the time it takes to adjust the guard will often not be enough to block those lower shots, especially if they are set up correctly. However, the cross guard can have its advantages and can be useful momentarily, especially to apply pressure.
How's the rhythm? 10 seconds to go on the round.
High guard. The high guard is the most commonly used guard, and for good reason. In the high guard, both arms are up with the elbows tucked to the sides of the body, and your body is slightly crouched. Both the body and the head are partially covered. The high guard is used from a squared stance. Mechanics. The mechanics are really easy. Depending on the type of punch, the guard will be either closed through the middle or open to cover the sides. Straight punches to both the head and the body, those being the 1, 2, 5 and 6, will be blocked by bringing both arms together, covering the middle and thus blocking straight shots.
So I always think the safest way is to just close the gap. Close the gap.
On the other hand, looping punches to both the head and body, those being the 3 and 4, will be blocked by opening the guard and covering the sides, thus blocking looping shots. To defend combinations from the high guard, you simply have to alternate between opening and closing the guard, with small adjustments, such as slightly lowering your arms when blocking shots to the body, and slightly raising them when blocking shots to the head. From the high guard, punches can also be parried, and it can be mixed with head movement too.
Israel Gonzalez. Let's see if it's the first of many.
When it comes to the mechanics of attacking, the high guard will allow for the most offensive capabilities out of all the guards. The squared stance with both arms up brings the rear hand closer to the opponent, allowing it to connect easier.
Which came out like a jab.
It also allows for more fluid combinations with both arms. Now let's take a look at the pros and cons. First of all, it's a versatile guard. It's easy to defend and attack from it. It's great for inside fighting as well as mid-range. And it allows you to cover a lot of surface without having to worry too much about being open. From the high guard, with small adjustments, punches can be blocked, which means you don't have to be engaged the whole time, making it one of the safest guards. On the other hand, while it covers a lot of surface, the squared stance also makes you a bigger target. Having both arms up can sometimes reduce vision and make you less agile and more static. But the high guard is one of the most complete and safe guards in boxing, and it can be used in any situation effectively. L guard. Now the L guard, more commonly known as the Philly shell, is a highly defensive guard that is also used pretty often in today's boxing. The L guard is a bladed stance, where the lead hand rests horizontally across the stomach, while the rear hand is positioned diagonally. With the elbow tucked against the body and the hand protecting the side of the face, the chin is tucked behind the front shoulder. While the body is covered, the head is pretty open. However, let's go over the mechanics to understand how this guard is used to defend attacks. Mechanics. Body shots are typically blocked with both arms. However, some punches, like the jab to the body, can be parried with the rear hand. Jabs to the head are often defended with a catch or a parry, while crosses are deflected with the front shoulder by slightly raising it. This is known as the shoulder roll. Lead hooks are either blocked with the rear hand or evaded by bending at the waist, while rear hooks are typically avoided with a pullback or a bend at the waist. Due to its bladed position, uppercuts are generally ineffective against the Philly shell. Now let's break down how to create offense from this guard. As the Philly shell is a bladed stance, the rear hand is much further away from the opponent, so it will be used much less. On the other hand, the lead hand will be much more available to jab and hook from. This guard is often used for counterpunching.
He was able to make the transition pretty good. He got again. And there's a right hand. A big right hand. Down his opponent roll in this round. I don't believe Tony is hurt. And there's a left hand.
Commonly in catch and shoot motions, blocking and countering shots. In other instances, the front shoulder is used to parry the opponent's rear hand, allowing for counters off the shoulder roll. Now let's cover its pros and cons. Being a bladed stance will make you a smaller target, which is why we consider it a defensive stance. This makes it much harder for the opponent to catch you. Also, with the bladed stance and the lead hand resting low, the jab can be highly effective and unpredictable, since it's coming from outside the opponent's center vision.
You know, the first fight, one of the...
On the other hand, the bladed stance limits your offensive output, especially with the rear hand being so far back. While the high guard is considered safe, the Philly shell is considered an unsafe guard due to how open the head is. If you don't get the timing right with the shoulder roll, you're susceptible to a clean shot. However, slick defensive fighters can make the most of it, and it's a great guard to know how to fight from, or to use for short defensive sequences during a fight. Low guard. Now, the low guard is the riskiest and least recommended guard, and for good reason. However, it still has its place in boxing. As the name suggests, the low guard is a position where your hands rest low around waist level. As is obvious, in this guard your head is wide open, and depending on how low your hands are, your body may be partially open too. Mechanics. When it comes to shots to the head, those will be defended primarily with head movement, as there is no hand coverage. Some looping shots can be parried with the shoulders by rolling with the punches.
Canelo just keeping his hands down, doesn't feel like Angulo can do anything to him.
When it comes to body shots, they will usually be blocked and in some cases parried by turning the body, similar to how you deal with looping headshots. Offensively, the low guard will be similar to the high guard, with the difference being that the starting point of the punches is lower.
For Vernon Forrest.
Now let's weigh out the pros and cons. The main pros are similar to the Philly shell. With the hands low, they are out of the opponent's center vision, making punches, especially the jab, more unpredictable. Also, because the hands are relaxed and hanging low, the low guard allows for whipping punches. Unlike other guards where the hands are up and the shoulder muscles are already engaged, this position can lead to a looser, snappier punching style.
You gotta break them down.
So I'm flexible when my hands are more down and not too high up.
That's why boxers who use the low guard often have a relaxed, whipping way of punching, which can be really effective in some situations. Now, the most obvious drawback of the low guard is the risk factor. Having your hands down and relying solely on head movement can be extremely dangerous. With the hands low, there's no time to adjust and block shots like you can with the other guards, so you're always at risk. In this case, the cons will outweigh the pros the overwhelming majority of the time. However, this guard has been used effectively in some instances. And as we always say, boxing is situational. Long guard. Lastly, the long guard is the outside fighter's favourite guard for keeping distance. The long guard is an open boxing stance where the lead hand remains extended to control the opponent, while the rear hand stays at chin level to protect the other side. The body remains open on the lead hand side, It's usually used from a bladed stance to maximize reach. Mechanics. When the opponent throws rear hand shots from the same side as your extended lead hand, they will often be parried or blocked by the traffic created by that lead hand. Body shots from that side are usually defended by stepping back, often while posting with the lead hand. On the other side, when the opponent throws lead hand shots from the same side as your rear hand will be used to catch, block or parry any incoming shot. Body shots on this side can also be defended by stepping back and posting, or by blocking/parrying with the rear hand. Offensively, this guard is mostly used from outside range.
С таким, знаете, звуковым эффектом. Да. Услышали все. Опять в левше стоит Агню, но, соответственно, нужно использовать эту комбинацию. Да.
The extended lead hand and the bladed stance allow for a high volume of lead hand attacks. Even though the stance is slightly bladed, the extended lead hand can help land the rear hand more effectively. The lead hand can be used to blind, measure and set up power shots, making them more unpredictable. Pros and cons. Among blinding and measuring, the long guard allows for the most lead hand control techniques, which is one of its biggest strengths.
It's got speed, power, looks.
That extended lead hand not only creates distance, it allows you to measure better, blind the opponent, pin their guard, and much more.
A crude slugger, do you? So
that's what makes the long guard one of the best guards for outside boxers. On the flip side, having the lead hand extended can be tiring and leaves a big gap on the body that can be exploited. Still, the long guard is a guard that can be used often, and when mixed with other guards, it can make your boxing game much more complete. But now we would love to know your opinion. Which is your guard of choice? Which one do you have the most difficulty with? Let us know. And if you found this video helpful, there's more like it on our channel. And to your left, we've picked a video we think you'll enjoy.